While the original Diablo was the genesis of a massive franchise, most people cut their teeth with Diablo 2 and its expansion, Lord of Destruction. Diablo 2, along with StarCraft and later Warcraft 3, were the cornerstone of the Battle.net experience, with many hours spent doing bell runs to grind experience and running Pindleskin to get items. Obviously, as a completely fantasy-based game with no grounding in reality, we won't be doing an analysis of the archery technique in Diablo 2. That would be as silly as announcing a mobile game at a major convention. Instead, we'll be doing a spotlight on the use of bows and bow skills in the game, specifically the Amazon class. As with the original Diablo, any class can equip bows, with the exception of Amazon-specific bow types. However, only the Amazon has skills that enhance the bow, which is why other classes don't bother with it. That said, the early game might demand the use of melee weapons or javelins until better bows and skills are unlocked. In fact, that is the major limitation of the Amazon. As a class, it is perhaps the most item dependent, and if you don't happen to find a good bow and complementing armor, a Bowazon is one of the more difficult builds to play, especially in single player. Multiplayer is a much different story with exclusive rune words and trading. Bowazon build centered on one of two bow skills, multi-shot or strafe. Multi-shot, as the name implies, involves shooting multiple arrows in a fan pattern, allowing for rapid area clearance. Strafe does a very similar function, except that the arrows auto-target enemies. Subsequent skill points increase the number of arrows and damage, and effectively turns the Amazon into a turret, adding valuable DPS to the party. Elemental damage is always nice for complementary skill and required to deal with physical immunes in hell difficulty. Thankfully, the bow skills include fire and ice-based attacks such as freezing arrow. The issue for fresh characters is that these are late game skills, and the first half of the game is agonizing simply due to the fact that you don't have any skills that enhance your bow damage, and if luck doesn't grant you good drops, it's a steep progression curve. Even when you do get strafe or multi-shot, you still need to max out the skills for optimal effect, and you need a high damage, high speed bow with at least mana leech to sustain your attack. Plus, if you're using strafe, you face the problem of strafe lock, as your character is rooted in place until the entire attack is done. When you finally get the skill investments, get a good melee mercenary and start putting points into Valkyrie, you've got enough going for you to solo to the endgame, but it's still a very tough hike. You still lack the crowd control and area damage of other classes like the Sorceress, and while it's fun to run through and spam arrows everywhere, others run single target spike damage and mob annihilation better, at least solo. The gameplay you've been seeing in the background is a complete run of the game in single player with a level 45 Amazon I built from scratch without any additional tweaks. I had accidentally deleted my entire playthrough, so this is a fresh run with the existing character for a nostalgic run through of our favourite zones. I'm sure we're all too familiar with doing temple runs, Travancore, the Durance of Hate, the River of Flame, and the Chaos Sanctuary. Even after getting all the skills you need for a good build, taking down Diablo wasn't easy. And again, this is solo on single player. Not even my Valkyrie could tank for me, though the Hireling held his ground. That damn red lightning is brutal compared to my Diablo 1 run. Then, of course, there's the Lord of Destruction expansion. I suppose running through to the Throne Destruction would be faster if I had a better weapon, or played as a Sorceress, but getting past the procedurally generated levels, we get to Baal and his waves of demons. Come on, we all remember this, especially Lister the Tormentor. This is so much easier in multiplayer. Finally, Baal himself. And to be honest, even in retrospect and playing through an already familiar game, this was an honest challenge. Many town portals to restock on potions, smacking the wrong Baal, and finally bringing down the final prime evil. It's been 20 years since the original release of Diablo 2. I'm sure fans of Diablo would be equally happy with the remaster as much as a fourth installment, but I'm not a game publishing company. Just saying. Thank you all for following this nostalgia trip. This is NUSensei, and as always, shoot straight and aim for your best.